Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Sunday, July the 14th. We're going to look at the 9-game DraftKings slate for Sunday, and then Yahoo, they are running the all-day slate. That's going to be their main. Their main slate's going to be all 15 games. So we'll be sure to hit on both slates, talk about DraftKings and Yahoo. We'll start off at pitching, work our way through the pitcher-player pool. I'll hit on all the pitchers that I'm going to be playing today, the pitchers that I'd like, that I'm going to be targeting. Then we'll look at some stacks that I like. We'll talk about some BVP plays as well towards the end of the video. Just before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. But at the top on DraftKings, we have 3 guys over 10K, Jacob deGrom, Shane Bieber, and Zach Greinke. I think just looking at these top 3 guys, Jacob deGrom clearly stands out as the best option. He gets a great matchup facing the Marlins on the road, really good pitcher's park in Marlins Park. And his price tag compared to Bieber and Greinke is not really much of a difference for me to want to play Bieber or Greinke over deGrom. deGrom should be 12K today. I'm not sure why he's only 10,800, especially facing the Marlins. If deGrom was like 12K today, maybe you could take the savings and play like Bieber or Greinke, but since he's so closely priced to those guys, I would just rather go with Jacob deGrom. He just feels like such a safe option here against the Marlins. He has so much upside as well. He's done pretty well this year against the Marlins, just been pretty consistent. Through 3 games against them, he's averaged 25 DraftKings points. He's got 25 strikeouts through those 3 games, so he's averaging about 8 Ks per outing against the Marlins. This is just a really bad Marlins team, really bad lineup. Some strikeouts in the lineup as well. They're going to be rolling out a lot of righties, and Jacob deGrom is elite versus right-handed hitters. Right-handed hitters just don't hit deGrom well. 2.9 implied run total, by far the lowest on the slate. So great spot for deGrom. I love him on DraftKings. On Yahoo, since you do have the full 15 games, there are some other options you could consider. Like if you want to go to like a Mike Soroka for $41, $17 less than deGrom, you can maybe go there. Tanaka at home against the Blue Jays is $18 less than deGrom. But I still just feel so good, or so safe going with deGrom. I feel like he's just such a good option. Even at $58, even though he's expensive, there's plenty of value pitching today that I like. And you do have Justin Verlander on the Yahoo slate, but I don't really like that spot against Texas. Scary spot having to pitch in Texas. Feel safer just saving the $3 and playing deGrom. But let's talk about some of these cheap options. I don't think I'm going to be paying up much for like Bieber or Greinke just because they're so closely priced to deGrom. My next favorite guy would definitely be Tanaka at home against the Blue Jays. 8,800 on DraftKings. If you're going with a really cheap stack and you want to play Tanaka as your SP2 and pair him with deGrom, I think that makes a ton of sense. Jose Quintana, I don't mind on DraftKings at 7,300, but where I really like him is over on Yahoo. He is really cheap on Yahoo. He's all the way down here at $29. He's cheaper than guys like Chacin, Arrieta, Trevor Williams. He's same price as Jordan Zimmerman, same price as Adam Wainwright. Really like Jose Quintana at just $29 on Yahoo. So he's going to be pitching at home against the Pirates here. Not the easiest matchup, but not a matchup I'm really scared of either. Pirates have a decent lineup. They don't have a ton of strikeouts in their lineup, but still not a lineup that I'm that scared of taking a pitcher against, especially when he's so cheap at $29. Like even if Quintana gets you 15, 20 fantasy points, which he can easily do here, that's going to be good enough value to pay off this price tag. For what it's worth, he's been pretty good this year against the Pirates. I think he's faced them multiple times. Faced him at the very beginning of the year, April 11th, went 7 innings, 11 Ks, 42 fantasy points. Quintana's best start this year was against the Pirates, and then he did face them again pretty recently in his last start, 24 fantasy points, 7 innings, 6 Ks, 6 hits, 3 runs, 24 fantasy points. So I think Quintana can easily give you 20 to 25 fantasy points on Yahoo, and at just $29, I do like him quite a bit as a value pitcher. But if we look for cheaper options on DraftKings, there's a couple guys that really stand out that are cheaper than Quintana that I really like. So Ryan Yarbrough, he's going to be the long man, or he's expected to be the long man here for the Rays going up against the Orioles. This is definitely a risky play. You just never know how deep Yarbrough is going to go into the game. Like last time he was the long man was on the 1st of July against the Orioles, and he only threw 61 pitches. He wasn't really struggling either. They just decided to pull him after 61 pitches. You never know how deep he's going to go, so he's definitely risky. It's a really good matchup, though. I'm going to have some exposure to Yarbrough, but I don't expect him to be a core play for me today. I really like Julio Chacin. Chacin's dirt cheap. He's 5,800. He's pitching at home against the Giants, a very favorable matchup. Chastain has been better lately. He hasn't been the complete gas can that we've seen so far, like at the beginning of the year. Like his last two starts against the Pirates and the Reds, 5 innings against the Pirates, 6 hits, 1 run, 4 Ks, 12 DraftKings points, not terrible. His last start against the Reds was actually pretty good, 6 hits, 2 runs, 8 Ks, 21 DraftKings points. Now he gets to face a really easy Giants lineup. Pitching at home I don't like. I would much rather prefer that this game was being played in San Francisco in Oracle Park, but still a pretty low total for the Giants, just a 4.4 implied run total. Chastain's one of the cheaper SP2s available on the slate, and the fact that he's pitching against the Giants just makes him a clear value option in my opinion. Chastain has also been pretty good versus righties just throughout his career. He's going to face a lot of lefties, which is a concern. Right now in the projected lineup they have, Fantasy Labs has 6 lefties in the projected lineup, or 5 lefties. You would prefer more righties, so maybe if the Giants roll out a right-handed heavy lineup, that would make Chastain even more interesting. But even though he's going to be facing a bunch of lefties, these lefties aren't really that good. Belt's really good, but Mike Yastrzemski I'm not really concerned with. Alex Dickerson, not that great of a hitter. Brandon Crawford, not that great of a hitter. Joe Panic, not a good hitter either. So I think Chastain just gives you a lot of upside at this really cheap price. Could easily be one of the best value plays on the slate. And once you get past Chastain, there's not much that I really like. Don't see myself going to Jordan Zimmerman, even though he's got a really good matchup against the Royals. I think if you're looking for cheap value pitchers, you guys to consider are going to be Yarbrough, Sandy Alcantara I didn't mention, but Sandy Alcantara at 6,300 you could definitely look to. And then Chastain I like at 5,800 as a cheap option. But now let's talk about some hitters that we can possibly consider on this slate. So DraftKings is doing 9 games for their main slate. They're not including any of the 3 o'clock games. So that's going to take Coors off the table. That's going to take the Astros off the table, playing in Texas. So that kind of limits where we can go with our bats. I think one of the clear teams to target for hitting in terms of stacking is the Brewers here, at home in Miller Park versus Tyler Beede. The Brewers just look like a really good stack today. So much power in this lineup, and they're not that expensive. One of the plays that really stands out to me is Mike Moustakas at only 4,600. I know he hasn't been as good lately. He was on a little bit of a cold streak to end the All-Star break, but this is still just such a good power hitter. 4,600 is too cheap of a price tag for Moustakas, especially when he's at home in Miller Park, facing a pretty bad righty in Tyler Beede. So I love Moustakas at 4,600. I think he's a great play if you want to go to him on DraftKings. I think he is pretty cheap on Yahoo. I'm not going to include him in my Yahoo core, but he's $20. You could definitely go there, but we're going to talk about Arenado in cores. Arenado is only $19. Arenado is actually cheaper, so would prefer to go there, but you could definitely go to Moustakas on DK. But I really like him on DraftKings where he's only 4,600. Feels like a really good option. Also, Lorenzo Cain stacking the Brewers feels like a really good play. Leading off, expected to lead off at only 4K. Really good value outfielder in my opinion. So Cain does have some power. Not the greatest power hitter, but 5 home runs on the year. Does have a little bit of power. Can steal bases as well. 10 stolen bases on the year. Just gives you a lot of upside. If you're stacking the Brewers, he's just a clear plug and play. Anytime you get a really cheap outfielder leading off a part of your stack, makes it one of the better plays. And if you want to get Yelich in there, obviously you're going to want to try and do that. If you want to get Grandal in your Brewer stacks, then you're going to have to include some of these cheap guys. So Yelich at 4K, I really like leading off. Then another team I think you can definitely target is the Phillies versus Anibal Sanchez. I really like Bryce Harper. He really stands out at only 4,100 on DraftKings. So we know how good of a power hitter Bryce Harper is. Anibal Sanchez has been better this year. He's actually been pretty decent, but still not a guy that I'm scared to take some hitters against, especially a good hitter like Bryce Harper. I think Harper does have some BVP against Sanchez if you're into that. He's gone 4 for 19 with a home run, so not the best BVP, but has homered off him once. Just so much power, though, for Bryce Harper. 16 homers on the year. A lot of power versus righties. Anibal Sanchez will give up home runs to lefties. Really like him at only 4,100. And the Phillies as a stack with a 5 implied run total and a lot of cheap hitters make a lot of sense as a value stack. Like Kingery leading off is only 4K. Segura 3,900. You obviously have Harper at 41. Hoskins is also 4,100. JT Realmuto is only 3,700. You can easily stack the Phillies and still fit in Jacob deGrom. So I do like the Phillies here versus Sanchez given their pricing. So these are the guys I'm using for bats on DraftKings. But if we go over to Yahoo, they do have all 15 games, so they do have the Coors Field game. This is definitely a game I'm gonna want to get some exposure to on Yahoo. Antonio Senzatella and Tyler Mahle pitching in this Coors game. I do want to focus on the Reds more than the Rockies. I think the Rockies are a pretty good stack, but the Reds I just really like versus Senzatella. Senzatella is just not a guy that I believe in. Just don't think he's that good of a pitcher. So in the outfield, I want to start off with Derek Dietrich. He should be batting right in the middle of the lineup, probably 5th or 6th versus Senzatella. It feels like a great value play, only $9, dirt cheap, almost close to minimum price. In Coors Field versus a really bad righty. We don't have totals on this game right now, I believe, but I imagine the totals on both sides are going to be pretty high. The Reds are probably going to have one of the higher totals on this Yahoo slate. So love Reds bats. Derek Dietrich at $9 I really like. Scooter Gennett's really cheap. He's only $11 if you want to play him. But the only reason I'm not going to include Scooter Gennett is because Jose Altuve is only $1 more. And I just love Jose Altuve at just $12 on Yahoo. Just way too cheap for him. Facing Ariel Gerardo. Really good spot for the Astros here versus Gerardo. A pitcher that really struggles with righties. Actually struggles more with righties than lefties. And we know this Astros team has a ton of power versus right-handed pitching. They have a lot of righties that have power. Obviously, Springer, Altuve, and Bregman are the three guys that come to mind. Even the lefties aren't easy outs. Like Yordan Alvarez, just a great hitter, a ton of power. You can definitely play him today. You could definitely go to Michael Brantley. I think he's pretty reasonably priced on Yahoo. So these are some of the bats I'm going to be going to. I really like these 3 o'clock games, the Coors game and the Texas game. In terms of hitting, I think this is a game you definitely want to target. Then at third base, I did mention Nolan Arenado as a play earlier. He's only $19 on Yahoo, which just feels way too cheap here. Facing Tyler Mahle, a pitcher that does struggle more with lefties than righties, so I do prefer to roster Arenado when he's facing a lefty, but even facing righties, especially when he's at home in Coors, Arenado is always a great play. The fact that he's not one of the most highest priced second basemen, I'll see actually where he's priced. Right now on Yahoo, they've got him priced as the 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th most expensive third baseman, which just baffles my mind. So at $19, Arenado feels like a great play here in Coors. And I do like the Rockies as well. I just prefer the red side if I have to choose one team. So these are my 5 plays for Yahoo, 5 plays for DraftKings. Let's go ahead and talk about some stacks now, then we'll look at BVP before we end the video. So some of my favorite stacks on DraftKings are definitely going to be the Brewers. Really like them versus Tyler Beede. Obviously the Yankees, anytime they have a high total, they have to be considered. Pretty much anytime the Yankees are on the slate, they're going to have to be considered with how stacked of a lineup they have. Looks like they're going to be getting Luke Voit back, which just makes this lineup even more dangerous. 6 implied run total versus Marcus Stroman. You can definitely look to some Yankees bats. And I did mention the Phillies I really like as a cheap stack versus Anibal Sanchez. Also on the other side of that game, if you want to play some lefties versus Jake Arrieta, specifically Adam Eaton, Juan Soto, 2 guys you could definitely look to. But the righties aren't easy outs either for Arrieta. This feels like a game you could get some exposure to bats on both sides. On Yahoo, do want to talk about those 3 o'clock games. Houston versus Ariel Gerardo I really like, and then the Coors game, Reds and Rockies side, prefer the Reds. You're going to want to get some exposure to bats on those games on Yahoo. But now let's look at some BVP real quick before we end the video. So there are a lot of BVP plays. I'm just going to cover the ones that really stand out to me. So at the top, Aaron Judge really done well against Marcus Stroman, 7 for 16 with 4 home runs. He's crushed Stroman. Brian Dozier, 5 for 11 with 2 home runs off Jake Arrieta. Going down a little bit more, Whit Merrifield, 6 for 15 off of Jordan Zimmerman. Kyle Schwarber, 6 for 17, 2 home runs off Trevor Williams. I think that's pretty much it for all the BVP plays today, guys. I think that is it for the video. Hopefully you did enjoy this video, and hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, just make sure you drop a like down below. I would really appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, or like always, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT if you do have any questions. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one. Good luck today. Peace.